Hi guys, hope you're doing well. I am going over the outlines that were turned in, and it's becoming clear that maybe we need a little bit of extra help on that. So if you didn't do the outline, didn't turn it in, or if you think you might need to redo it, or if you're just curious, this video is for you. I'm going to go through a sample outline that you are welcome to use if you are stuck. We have a big giant problem occurring in the world right now, so why not write about it? We've all been doing research, informally if you've been listening to the news or following social media at all. All right, so I'm going to go down to my outline. That is way down at the bottom. We are nearing the end here. And I'll also cover a thesis statement if you need a thesis statement still. We're going to go ahead and click on Write Your Outline. If you didn't turn it in, still turn it in. You need to do an outline before you write your paper, because if you try to write a paper without an outline, it generally doesn't work out so well. Also, I'm going to require that for you to turn it in. What I'm interested in is this template here. So if you're working in Microsoft Office, you can just highlight the whole thing, copy it and paste it into your document, or you can click on this Google Docs template. You'll need to make a copy of that document to type on it. All right, so I've made a title, The Problem of COVID-19 and Its Possible Solutions. I'm going to start with a hook or anecdote. Just describe what you're going to write about in your very, very first paragraph. That should grab someone's attention through a story. Okay, so there are countless accounts on social media of the tragedy of this, of people affected. You could find one and tell it. You could tell your own story. Lots of options there. For my background, I'm going to need some scientific information about how the virus spreads, what it is. That's where I could maybe use some scholarly articles. And I'm going to transition to my thesis. So here is a sample thesis statement. You could use it if you want. Sorry, I've got a baby here as well. The contagious nature of the COVID-19 virus, combined with increased international travel and lack of government regulation, has led to the current international crisis. The pandemic has devastated the global economy and impacted the quality of life of nearly every human being on the planet. Okay, so that in my thesis, you can see I've got my causes and effects. Your thesis needs to be long for this paper because it's a very long paper. It's got many sections. So first I'm going to talk about why the problem is happening. Okay, so what's the cause? A cause is a reason why something happens. So I have been watching the news. I've been reading about this quite a bit. And I know that one cause is increased international travel. Another cause, the direct cause, you could say, was the lack of government regulation in China and the contagious nature of the virus, okay, the fact that it's asymptomatic and spreads. All right, so I've got my causes in the first part. I've got my effects in the second part. Okay, so why should we care? It has devastated the global economy and impacted the quality of life of nearly every human being on the planet. Okay, so I cover cause, I cover effect. The final part of my thesis is going to be the solution. So I've said the only real solution to this problem will be a vaccine. However, until that arrives, the United States government must implement widespread mandatory testing to control the spread. Okay, this is going to be kind of my argument portion. Now, why wouldn't I just write about a vaccine? Well, it hasn't been developed, so there's not a whole lot to say about that. I could get into, who's working on it, what type of vaccine it would be, why it's taking so long. If I wanted to just talk about the science of it, I could stop at that solution. Okay, but I'm going to argue for a policy change. All right, so that's what a thesis looks like. If your thesis is short, if I told you to rewrite it, rewrite something like this. If you want to use this thesis and this outline because you're absolutely stuck, you can, or you can just use parts of it and change the causes and effects that you are interested in, okay? All right, so I've got some causes or reasons. My first cause is going to be lack of regulation in Chinese markets. I'm going to get into the history of it, the background of it. Cause reason is going to be, if I look at my thesis, increased travel. So I'm going to try to make these complete sentences in my A, B, and C, just because then I won't have to do a new topic sentence. So I'll say international travel has increased in recent decades. Okay, and then population density contributes to the spread of the virus. Okay, now if I want to talk about the science, I think that's going to probably be my main cause that I get into. To add another cause or reason, all you do is just click or type enter above a letter and it'll keep your format if you're in Google Docs. So I'm going to say the virus is highly contagious and often asymptomatic. And we're going to spell that correctly. Okay, so the virus is highly contagious and often asymptomatic, and then I'm just going to paste in another set of examples. Okay, so the outline format's a little tricky. If you mess up the lettering, it's not a big deal. So where it says cited evidence, that's where I just paste in quotations, right? You do not have to write anything for Arabic number 1 and 2. Okay, so all you're writing is your topic sentences, which are different causes of the problem. And again, try to make them a sentence if you can. So again, my causes are going to be the virus is highly contagious and often asymptomatic. I need to go find evidence about that. Maybe a doctor talking about why it spreads so easily, or maybe a statistic that, every infected person infects 2 other people. Something that you can prove your cause. Right. My second cause is going to be lack of regulation in many Chinese markets. I'm going to need to find some facts on what happened. I'm not going to get into the whole maybe it came from a laboratory theory, but you could if you wanted to. And my third cause is international travel has increased. I'm going to need to find some stats about that, maybe one about how it has increased and then one about how that has spread the virus. And then population density. Okay, now you probably don't need 4 causes. I'd say for a paper this length, you can do just fine with 3 causes if if there's a lot to say about them, but 4 would definitely help me meet the word count. Okay, effects of the problem. So my first effect is going to be economic. Okay, so the pandemic has devastated world economies. Easy to find facts on that. It has hindered the education of millions of students, and I think I'm going to make this just about mental health. It has led to a mental health crisis in America. I just read an article on that, so that's another effect that we could document. All right, so possible solution, detailed description. I could say detailed description of potential. Sorry, I'm trying to feed a baby and type now. Let's see, potential vaccines. Okay. And then why it will work, comparisons to similar models or ideas. Okay. And I'm going to also say description of a testing policy that would work. That's from my thesis. Okay, so I'm going to say, oh, well, the vaccine is what we need, but until that happens, I'm going to describe a policy that would work to slow the spread. Comparison to similar models or ideas. So the easiest way to prove that a solution will work is to find a place where it has worked. Okay, so my example 1 might be this worked to slow the spread in China and Germany. Okay, and then maybe I'll also say Germany. Okay, so, well, in Germany, they had widespread testing. In Italy, they really didn't in time, and you probably saw that the effects were much worse there. Okay, so I haven't found my facts yet, but this is basically all I would need to start doing some research. Okay, so what I'm looking for in your outline is that you have causes and effects and solutions decided. Okay, now if you change it, that's totally fine. You don't have to have all your evidence done, but you should have at least some. So maybe I'm going to go and find some facts about economies and paste them in there. You can use this if you'd like. So if you want to use this actual outline and write about the coronavirus, go for it. You might as well have something come out of this experience, right? If you want to use parts of it, that's also fine. If you want to change certain effects or causes, that's totally fine. But I would suggest if you're really stuck, take this topic because you've really already been doing the research if you've been tuned in at all. Okay, I hope that helps you. If it doesn't help you and you're still stuck, the ASC has many tutors standing by. All you have to do is send them an email and you can phone or Zoom or however it is you want to connect. Okay, and also please reach out to me if you're struggling. All right, thank you. I will post this in resources and hopefully if you need it, you can get it.